The remakes so far stole the entire gaming industry in 2023. System Shock is the next example of the remake that is almost perfect. The original game released in 1994 and is really clunky these days, and for some people, for most people, definitely not really that pleasant to play. Remake is definitely a thing that System Shock needed, and it's a very faithful remake. No map pointers, no objectives on the display. There are a lot of moments in this game you're going to end up scratching your head and wondering where I should go next, and that's why this video is so late. It took me about 25 hours to complete the game, and then additional few hours to run around and search for stuff that I've missed. And I see a lot of people aren't used to these types of games. Steam discussions, forums, questions are wild. Everyone thinks they got softlocks. And yes, there are softlocks and bugs that needs to be addressed in the patches, but that's why the game is almost perfect. But from much pleasant things to talk about, let's start from the graphics. Graphics are beautiful in this game. The game uses Unreal Engine and doesn't stutter. Maybe with an exception of one section that I'm going to refer to this later in this video. Modernized look, somehow stylized to look pixelated when you look at some items from up close. Gameplay is way more present to engage with. Original game, which I love, is really clunky. This remake gives an opportunity to much more people to play this magnificent game and to experience the first System Shock. Also, not everything was left the same. There are some changes to the level design in the remake. Some rooms have been changed or added, even to create more confusion where to go, but some of the added rooms are completely empty, which I don't remember that it was happening in the original game. Sometimes you're going inside the room and the room is completely empty, a waste of time, as the game really requires you to lick the walls, so to speak. Also, you are getting rewarded by great exploration, obtaining like jet boots for an example, and those jet boots are really too OP. If it comes to this remake, you can use these boots to skip the entire security level section. You can just fly up and search for the places that you can land on and skip the entire section. It's fun, but that actually emphasizes the fact that yes, the jet boots are too OP in the remake. But I really can't complain. It was fun to land on different places that I definitely maybe shouldn't have landed. Throughout the entire game, you will gather massive amounts of weapons, and I feel like I was playing Pokemon because I had to get them all. I had to have them all in my equipment. Why? Because I never knew which ammo is the game going to throw at me. Sometimes I'm going with an assault rifle, and then I'm getting the bullets for Scorpion, or then I'm getting the bullets for Magnum, and you have to have couple of weapons. Don't really leave them anywhere that you are going to forget when you hit them. And this went to the point when I genuinely had no place in my equipment for any junk, and this game encourages you to collect junk items that you can exchange for credits, and these credits are going to give you the ability to buy ammo or mod packs or stuff like this. You are encouraged to collect junk and run with them to the recycling stations. A really fun thing, but yeah, with this much weapons inside my equipment, I had really huge problems with collecting any junk at one point. One additional thing that really bummed me out: unfortunately, the soundtrack is not as good as in the original game. It's still a really good soundtrack, and I can say this remake has more of a horror atmosphere. Without this dancey music, how it was described by a few people, blaring in your headphones, some tracks were really iconic and they are missed in this game. But with this dancey music, they wouldn't have achieved this type of atmosphere that they wanted to accomplish with this remake. But anyway, it would be great to hear them again, maybe in some modernized edition. Cyberspace shooting sections are completely revamped, are much more pleasant to play than in the original game. If anyone's seen how the original game's cyberspace levels look like, they weren't really fully modeled. These ones are really fun to play, they are completely revamped. The one unfortunate thing is that when you are doing these sections, for the 10th time, you are getting really bored because it becomes repetitive, and these sections, as you progress through the game, don't really get any harder or anything like that. No, you just get the same thing over and over again. Yes, the rooms are changing, the levels are changing, but no, almost no new enemies, no new stuff, and it gets repetitive. That's kind of praise and complaint in one section from me. Now let's go to the bugs. There's a plenty of technical issues about this game that a lot of people that make a review fail to even talk about them. I don't know why. Let's start from this. Game spawns bodies inside the rooms, and each time you open the door, the bodies jump up, and you can even shoot out a couple of bullets because you're going to be scared by them, taken off guard. I was really getting tired of this. Each time I'm opening up the room that I was in like hour ago, the bodies are still there and they jump. They don't spawn on the floor, they spawn in the mid-air and they fall down, or sometimes even bug out and jump up, which is really weird that something like this would even happen in a video game in 2023. This really needs to be addressed with a patch of some sort. Ragdoll is broken to the point when enemy bodies, sometimes when you're opening up the room, not even jump, they get stuck in the ceiling. Like for an example, this one on this clip, the enemies are getting spawned in one place and they block themselves, looking like human centipede wannabe. I don't know, you can see this on this clip. Maintenance level 3 cyberspace. This is the thing that I was saying before about game not stuttering. Cyberspace shooting section on level 3 and maintenance is glitching out. When you're getting to the last room inside the cyberspace, even if you defeat all the enemies, the game just doesn't stop to stutter. I didn't know what to do. Went out, minimized the game, went out, closed everything that I had on the turned on, returned to the game, and the game crashed. I had to redo the entire section again, and the same thing happened. Just, I didn't crash, I just rushed out to the exit, and the game came back to normal after I left the cyberspace. This is the only cyberspace sequence that I had this type of problem with. So something is wrong with this one level. For some reason, also when I had security on 0% on reactor level, I received a big guy waiting for me right after I quit the elevator. There shouldn't be no enemies at this point, at this stage. There is a stage when the enemies come back to the reactor level, but not in this section. So I was really like, what happened? I was really surprised by this fact. The equipment that you can point at the item and display the synopsis for an item. There is a writing on the bottom with really small text that tells you to hold a button to expand the synopsis. And the text size is so small that you are not allowed to read it. At least I wasn't. I had to try a few buttons, and then I found out that you have to hold Alt. But these are only problems that I have encountered. There's way more problems with the game that nobody is addressing except for the people that happen to them on the Steam discussions. As a first thing, I will say I do tend to check out after I finish the game. I have this ritual that I'm going out and checking out other people playing the game on YouTube, Twitch, and browse through Steam forums or Reddit and stuff like this. Why? Because after I managed to finish Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric on Wii U, and I had no game-breaking bugs, and this game was broken to the oblivion, I decided to start this ritual to seeing how other people are dealing with the game. There is a plenty of things that happen in this game that nobody is talking about, and these things have to be fixed. There are some really game-breaking bugs that I don't know even if you don't have to reset the game to finish it. Then there are some really small things like the achievements that are bugged out on Steam. There are key items clipping through the floor, items vanishing, loading the save in the elevator room on research, can block the door and you won't be able to leave. You won't be able to enter the research section, which is a second level of the game. The only thing that you can do is reset the game at this point, meaning start the entire playthrough from the beginning. And this is something that you are like really should be thankful that this is only the second level, which the completion of the first level is maybe an hour long. There is a problem with the best one, the head. There is one severed head that you have to pick up as a key item to open certain door. This head, for a lot of people, what I'm seeing, I didn't know that I was playing with fire, because you don't need this item to have it in your equipment throughout the majority of the game. You have to pick this item up way in the future. So for some people this head actually vanished. It fell under the textures, they are fucked, and this is really near the end of the game. These types of game-breaking bugs need to be addressed with some type of patches. They need to be fixed. And I would expect that this game that took this long to release, so much delays, to have these types of things patched out. But the game still released in this type of fashion, and nobody is addressing these things. And without spoilers, I have to mention the ending fight is really disappointing. I felt like there isn't much stakes there to be like trying. To be fair, original final fight from the original game also was like mid, but this one is even worse. And honestly, I had a great time. Patches are coming. I personally didn't have game-breaking bugs, but from what I see on Steam discussions, on certain forums and stuff like this, there's a plenty of people that get locked out. To the point when other people, when they encounter any small problem with the game, they also think they are soft-locked. But they aren't. You just have to lick every single wall in the game to progress to the ending. The problem is that people are not used to these types of games. But I don't think the soft locks are as prevalent to ruin your experience. As I was playing the game, and this that I mentioned, these problems that I had, presents to you that I didn't really have that much of a problems. I had no game-breaking bugs. I completed the game with almost 0 to none problems. But the other problems that are widely known at this point are present in the game and need to be addressed. And who knows, maybe the success of this one is going to bring us System Shock 2 Remake. Why? The second game also got old pretty bad. It deserves to get the same treatment as the first one. And who knows, maybe Tencent right now, when they have the example of System Shock Remake doing really good, maybe they are going to finally get all hands on deck and release System Shock 3. Pretty please, really please, I beg you, release System Shock 3, we need this game. The game is great, and if you are not going to stumble upon these bugs that I mentioned throughout the game, or most of them, the ones that are game breaking, you are going to have really huge fun with the game. The problem is that these bugs are present in the game. There was some patch released, but fixed only one problem so far from what I know. Some achievements don't really pop in on Steam if you care about that. If you defeat the final boss, there is an achievement that should unlock and unlocked for 0.1% people. I finished this boss battle twice, still didn't get the achievement. These types of things happen, but the game is almost perfect because it's a perfect remake. But the technical condition of this game leaves a lot to patch and to fix. That's going to be all for me. Comment, like, subscribe, and go buy the game and defeat the Shodan. Bye.